received, or your attorneys received on your behalf from the Commission. I confirm for the record.
Correct.
That the evidence leaders generated that document and served it upon you. Attached to that document, you indicate that attached to that document was a specific list of issues to be addressed by yourself in your statement, and there's a total of 13 issues raised with you. So insofar as the structure of your statement is concerned, do you confirm that it follows the questions as listed, so you answer each question in turn? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I just wanted to explain that to the extent that the commissioners might believe you are addressing yourself to an issue that they may for some reason deem irrelevant, that you are answering a question specifically posed to you by the evidence leaders. Okay. And if you may remember, if you agree with me or disagree with me, you don't nod or you don't shake your head because the microphone won't pick up the answer. So just to remind you each time to please verbalize your answer. Against that understanding then, we turn to the first, what you call point 1, following paragraph 54. Are we there?
Yes, ma'am.
At point 1, you were invited to comment on the provisions of Section 64C2 of the South African Police Act Service Act of 68 and 1995, and to provide your own interpretation as city manager of the powers set out therein, insofar as they relate to the Chief of Police. You confirm that? Your answer to that specific question then starts at paragraph 55. If you could take the commissioners through your response.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. I understand the SAFS Act 64C2 of 1995 is that the Municipal Council will appoint a municipal police service, and the executive head of that would be the Chief of Police, and the accounting officer will be the Chief Executive Officer. Therefore, the powers of the Chief of Police are subject to the directive of the Chief Executive Officer, which is the accounting office.
Okay. Apologies. You proceed then from paragraph 56 to reference the systems of delegations, and you have attached an excerpt from the Municipal Systems Act number 32 of 2000. That excerpt you have annexed as IM 8, if you go to the annexures bundle.
8.
IM 8 at page 29.
Yes, ma'am, I found.
Have you located it? Okay.
Yes.
Earlier, I referenced a series of files to your right, and at the time I suggested that you not concern yourself with. Those, for the record, are the complete bundles of the 4 witnesses who testified from EMPD, to wit, Chief Mapieye, Commissioner Spies, Mr. Ngiza, and Ms. Tepper. Those are the files to your right, together with their respective annexures. I indicated that I will refer to them from time to time, and they are marked on the spine with their respective names. Can you then pull out the statement of Chief Mapieye? It will be a file of statement and annexures. And in particular, I would like to refer you to page 7.
Of the statement.
Of the statement of Mr. Mapieye. And I refer to page 7, paragraph 21, for convenience purely, because Chief Mapieye quoted section 64C2 in full, which is the section that you're engaging with under this heading.
Yes, ma'am.
And you will see from that quotation that it provides that the executive head, and you'll confirm that the executive, reference to the executive here is the chief of police.
Yes, ma'am.
Subject to this act being the SAPS Act, and a few other prescripts, exercise control over the municipal service and shall, amongst other things, and then it lists, let's say, his powers and duties. Do you confirm that?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Do you confirm that section 64C provides that the chief of police is appointed by council and reports to council through the city manager?
That's correct.
With that understanding, therefore, kindly explain whether the section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act that you annex alters that position in any way. You remember? It doesn't. So the powers bestowed upon the chief of police as set out in Chief Mapiye's paragraph 21 remain unaffected by the provisions of section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act. I want, you either confirm or you don't. That's what I'm trying to test.
I don't.
You don't what?
I don't confirm.
Okay, what is the position, what is the impact in your understanding of section 56 on the powers of the chief of police?
Yeah, in fact, let me start by saying, in as much as there's a SAPS Act which deals with the powers of the chief of police, but the chief of police is appointed under the Municipal Systems Act, section 56. Therefore, the powers that is being given by the SAPS Act must be read with the powers of the Municipal Systems Act as a senior manager.
Yes.
As a senior manager. And also in terms of some of the, I know that there'll be criticism that systems of delegations cannot supersede the legislation. That I understand. But this is how the council works. Council is a third sphere of government, which is obviously autonomous from other spheres. All the spheres of government are actually autonomous to each other. For instance, in council, we have our own legislation, like your Municipal Systems Act, your Structures Act, the Municipal Finance Management Act, but we do take cognizance of certain acts that affect different portfolios within council, like your Health Act, which affect the social health and social development, and the SAPS Act that actually affects the operations of police. As I'm saying that the two acts must be read together. And in terms of the statement here that I usurped his powers, it cannot be true because I operate under the Municipal Systems Act, and the council has approved delegations, and also section 56 is clear in terms of the powers of the senior managers or the powers of the accounting officer. If it is his notion that I usurp his powers, unfortunately, I cannot confirm that and agree to that.
Thank you for that. You don't have it immediately before you. But I am going to read out some sections from the SAPS Act itself. And In particular, it's section 64, capital B, and it reads as follows, I quote, "The chief executive officer of a municipality shall be responsible to the municipal council for the functioning of municipal services, police service." You heard that. So he's accountable, is responsible and accountable to the council. Section 64C, sub 1, provides that subject to section 64D, a municipal council shall appoint a member of the municipal police service as the executive head thereof. You heard that.
Yes, ma'am.
Based on that, do we at least accept that insofar as the sub-X is concerned, the chief of police is appointed by council and is accountable to the municipal council?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then I want to refer you to your annexure IM 8 at page 29 to point out whether the difference between the two sections, section 64C read with 64B and of the subset, and section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act is as follows. If you could turn to your page 29 of the bundle.
Yes, ma'am.
The section you invoked is section 56, appointment of managers directly accountable to municipal managers. 56 sub 1 sub A provides a municipal council, after consultation with the municipal manager, must appoint Roman 1, a manager directly accountable to the municipal manager. In the context of what section 64B and C provide of the Subs Act, that is not the chief of police, because the chief of police, we know from that act, is accountable to council. Would you have a challenge with that proposition?
The Municipal Systems Act, as I understand it, and the SEFS Act, as I understand it, it says the executive head, the head will be the chief of police. But in terms of his powers are subject to the chief executive officer, which is the accounting officer. And then in terms of this section 56(1), a manager accountable to the municipal manager, chief in terms of his employment or contract, which we will send with the team, he's appointed as a senior manager under the Municipal Systems Act.
I'm testing my understanding now of what you say. So therefore, because you say he's appointed in terms of section 56 of the Municipal Systems Act, he therefore becomes accountable to the city manager.
Yes.
And you suggest that we overlook the provisions of the Subs Act, which makes him accountable to council.
Can you repeat your question?
My question is, based on what you've just said, and I'm checking whether I understand you correctly, that section 56, and you say he's appointed in terms of that section of the Municipal Systems Act, makes him accountable to the city manager, section 56.
Yes.
And you say that should be the prevailing section, and we overlook the fact that the Subs Act prescribes that the chief of police is accountable to council. Do we overlook the provisions of the Subs Act?
I'm not overlooking that particular Subs Act. Remember, the Subs Act is about the chief of police being the head, and it refers to me as the chief executive officer, and that his powers are subject to my directive as a chief executive officer. Then when you go to section 56, it is clear that even his employment contract, he reports to me directly. He doesn't report to council. He's the head of department of EMPD, to an extent that the current structure, organizational structure, that was done now by council, the chief of police position has been downgraded there'll be a head of community services, like in the list of positions, the list of departments that I referred to in my statement. We no longer have a department of EMPD or Ekurhuleni Metropolis. It is under the head community services. He may not even be a police officer. He may be a firefighter. So these are two departments that are being merged. So I don't know how are we going to deal with these two legislations, because at some point, because of this confusion between the two legislation, I suggested to Chief in one of my statements that, Chief, because there is this gray area about the Subs Act in terms of your powers and the systems and the Municipal Systems Act, please create a policy for me. Create a policy for me. I don't know which, maybe at some point we'll go through it. Create a policy so that we avoid these gray areas in dealing with issues in the EMPD, because they are very peculiar. I'm not a police officer, and I do not deal with the Subs Act on a daily basis, and I don't deal only with the Metropolis. You can imagine that I had 26 departments, and they're all scattered within the city. Metropolis itself is in Kempton Park, like 50 kilometers away from the head office where my office was based. So it is important that these two acts, obviously, they are creating a gray area. Hence, I try to address it by requesting him to create a policy, because for me, it was a confusion.
Is it possible, and I put it no higher than that, that perhaps the error arose in his appointment by invoking Section 56? Is it possible that in appointing him, the council relied on Section 56,
yes,
when it ought to have relied on Section 64? Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay. Now, you say you recognize the conflict between the two, because they deal with an important issue, which is the final repository of the power. You have a legal department within the city, I accept. Is that correct? Did you inquire from the legal department, or did you request an opinion to address specifically that conflict? Because I don't see how the chief of police, who is not a lawyer, to my understanding, would have assisted you. Did you direct perhaps a request to the legal department?
Well, the issue of conflict in terms of this thing, the SEPS Act as well as the Municipal Systems Act, will remain a gray area for council. It's council that is supposed to actually take into cognizance the existence of this act. And one may argue to say that this has been our general argument, that Chief was appointed under Section 56 of the Municipal Act, not under the SEPS Act. And he draws his salary from the Municipal Systems Act or from council, municipal council, that has created systems of delegations that is governed through the Systems Act. So it's something that needs to be addressed by council, to be honest.
I appreciate that, and thank you for that answer. My question really was whether or not you had turned at any point to the city's legal department to seek guidance as to the correct interpretation and approach. You hadn't.
Not yet. I only requested a policy from Chief to assist me in dealing with the challenges that we face between the Systems Act and the SEPS Act in terms of his powers.
Noted. And I raise this issue specifically, and I do accept that it's a technical legal interpretations, and I do appreciate any challenges you may have in that regard. But I raise it particularly because it informs a number of decisions that you subsequently took that we will be dealing with. And it was necessary that the steps you took or the responses you gave be placed in their proper context as to your understanding of what your powers were and what his, as the chief of police, were. You state then at your paragraph 58 that the chief of police's powers are subject to your directive, your directives. And that, if I go back to Chief Mapiea's quotation of section 64C, you derive from what's quoted there, because it specifically provides, the executive head shall, subject to this act, national standards and the directives of the chief executive officer of the municipality, exercise control over the municipal police service and shall, and then enumerates the powers granted him. Now you say those powers enumerated there, the chief of police must exercise subject to your directives. My question is, what impact did you understand any directives that you issued to have on those powers set out in 64? Does it strip the chief of police of the powers because you so direct? Or what is the impact of the directives? Because you say his powers are further subject to my directive.
Well, as I indicated that I work, I function, or I exercise my powers using the Systems Act. I am employed under the Systems Act, Section 54, and he's employed under the Systems Act, Section 56. So in terms of the powers, from those powers are actually interpreted as and when there are challenges. For instance, there was misunderstanding about the appointment, and I relied on the systems of delegations as well as the Systems Act. That, well, Chief, in as much as you are saying you are responsible for appointing from deputy chief of police up to a cleaner in your department, it is not possible. Hence, Council has created systems of delegation. When is he going to do his work? When he must sit in the interviews of junior officials. So the systems of delegations, as approved by Council, is meant to assist senior managers to concentrate on the general performance of the department, on governance issues, and on strategic issues than on operational issues. So that's why I relied on the systems of delegations, because I'm actually subject to actually adhere to them, as well as him, because he is appointed under the Systems Act, Municipal System Act. He's not in the. Okay, fine. Let me stop there.
Okay, thank you for that. I'm interested in your understanding of the effect of your directives on the powers of the chief of police as listed, and I'll give you an example. Sub B of that section 64, capital C, sub 2, stipulates that subject, of course, to the Act, to national standards, and directives of the chief executive officer of the municipality, the chief of police shall be responsible for the recruitment, appointment, promotion, and transfer of members of the municipal police service. Police. And am I correct to understand that's a reference to men and women in uniform who are the police? So if the Act says he is responsible for that function, I want to understand, to get your understanding as to the effect of any directives you may issue as city manager on that power. Can you strip him of that power, as you understood things?
As I understand, I used the systems of delegation that actually explains the powers of the chief, which level can he appoint. He is, in terms of the systems of delegations approved by council, he is only responsible to appoint his deputies, and his deputies are delegated to deal with the lower levels and the executive managers, etc., etc. In terms of, I relied on the systems of delegation. In as much as there is this notion that I usurped his powers, but I worked with documents that council uses. Remember, we are both appointed by council. In as much as he has this subset that gave him powers. Hence, I said there is a gray area between the two legislation, which at some point council needs to actually acknowledge and correct some of these things. Remember, as an accounting officer, you are appointed in terms of the legislation, and you must abide by that legislation, which is the Municipal Systems Act, and also the systems of delegations, which are approved by council. I cannot go outside that in terms of my directive.
I understood. Thank you for that. But just to close on that topic, when we, at paragraph 58, at page 11, you state his powers are further subject to my directives. That is a reference to his powers in terms of the SAPS Act, not the Municipal Systems Act, correct?
Both.
Okay, I'll accept both. Can I try again then to say, what does your directives do to his powers? Can you change his powers? Can you strip him of his powers?
I can't.
Okay. So your directives would never have that effect, whether the powers derive from the Systems Act or the SAPS Act.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Can I just
Yes,
clarify this?
yes, Commissioner.
Dr. Mashazi, it requires a yes answer, and you can elaborate if you so wish. My understanding of your evidence is that to the extent that you participated in recruitment, appointment, transfers within the municipal police, you believe that you were acting in terms of the powers conferred upon the Municipal Systems Act and the systems of delegation. Whether you are right or wrong, that's a separate issue, but you believe that these two instruments permitted you to do that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Commissioner. I never participated in the employment of junior officials. I only participate in the appointment of HODs. That is a legislated powers in terms of the Systems Act, that the accounting officers shall be the chairperson of the panel to appoint senior manager including chief of police. Then, when you go to the delegations are clear. Then such powers from the municipal accounting officer are further sub-delegated to the HODs, which is now chief of police. Chief of police powers are delegated to appoint divisional heads, which are his deputies. Then further to that, I've attached a copy. Deputies are responsible to appoint the next level. So meaning at the inspector level, the lowest level, it will be your superintendent who are going to be delegated, who are delegated to appoint those junior officials. I do not sit in the interviews of junior officials, including the divisional heads. The divisional heads, chief sits there as the chairperson of those panels, including the appointment of General Mkhwanazi. He said there.
You say you did not take any powers away from him.
No.
You simply followed the Municipal Systems Act and the systems of delegation.
Correct.
So it was not you taking powers away from him.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, Commissioner Kwalo.
Dr. Mashazi, just to make sure that I understand, I'm looking at this delegation document at page 27 of the bundle. That's IM 7. I just want to make sure that I understand I'm reading it correctly.
Can you raise your voice?
Page 27 of the bundle, it's IM 7.
Yes.
And I just want to make sure that I understand it correctly. So what you've got there is you've got in that shaded part, it says the HOD has the following, EMPD has the following assigned to him in terms of the applicable legislation. You see where I'm reading?
Yes.
Okay. And then if you go to item 2 thereof, it says responsible for maintaining an impartial, accountable, transparent appointment, promotion, and transfer of members of the Metro Police Service. If you go to the column with delegation, where the heading is delegation, you see what I'm saying, where I'm reading? Am I reading it correctly to say that that power in 2, he exercises it in respect of divisional heads? Is that the way to read it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then when you go to 3, item 3, which says responsible for recruitment, appointment, promotion, and transfer of members, subject to applicable law, that applies to divisional heads and executive managers.
Correct.
And then lastly, responsible for the discipline of the municipal police service, That applies to divisional head, executive managers, and managers. So he's got the power over those people.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, I understand. Thanks, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Dr. Mashazi. That then brings us to the end of question 1. And I would then like to invite us to consider question 2. For that purpose, I think you can close the file containing Chief Mapiere's statement. You can put it aside to make some space for yourself. You deal, question 2 inquired from you as to your knowledge of and a role, if any, in the conclusion of 2 memoranda of agreement by Brigadier Mkhwanazi on behalf of the city of Ekurhuleni, and invited you to give comments. Do you see that? I'm at page 11 of your statement.
Mm-hmm.
Verbal. Do you see where I am in your statement?
Yes, I
And
see.
following paragraph at 58. And you deal cumulatively with the question 2.1 and 2.2, because the one question was specific to the memorandum of agreement with Medicare 24 during or about October 2021, and the other one being item 2.2 dealt with memorandum of agreement concluded with CAT VIP protection during or about October 2021. You then provide your answer from paragraph 59 at page 11 through to 66. Would you like to take the commissioners through your response as regards any knowledge you had regarding the conclusion of these 2 documents and any role you played, if any, in the conclusion of the 2 documents? Thank you.
Thank you, SC. The document, the memoranda, the 2 memoranda that were signed by Brigadier Mkhwanazi, to my knowledge, it did not come to the attention of my office, and I did not know the origin, and I did not even know that they were implemented. For me, it is irregular for the department or a junior official to enter into a memorandum or memoranda without the accounting officer. The memoranda obviously contained the issue of the donation and so forth, but for me it was illegal. It was not within his powers to actually enter into those memoranda.
You reference annexures IM 9 and IM 10, which appear in your annexure bundle, page 9 and page 31, my apologies, and page 32, respectively. Your bundle file.
I'm checking.
It should have your name on the spine and read annexures. Have you found it? It should have your name and a file with your name on the spine, headed annexures. And I'm referring you to annexures 9 and 10, which appear at page 31 and 32, respectively.
Page, apologies for
No,
that.
no, it's quite okay.
Page?
Page 31.
Yes. Page 31, yes, ma'am.
Please confirm that that is marked IM 9,
Yes.
and it's an email with a name at the top, Liesel Tires. Is that where we are at?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We are going to have regard to that document. And the following one, which is IM 10, and then you annex the 2 memoranda as IM 11 and IM 12, respectively. Okay. Now, You indicate in your statement, and I think you have confirmed now, in oral testimony, that you had no knowledge of the conclusion of these documents, these memoranda. You played no role in their conclusion. You state at paragraph 63, the first time I saw, and at page 12, the first time I saw signed versions of the memoranda was on 26 November 2025. Is that correct? No, Dr. Mashazi.
I beg your pardon?
You have to be verbal in your responses.
Correct.
Thank you. Now, you specifically call them signed versions. Does that suggest you have seen unsigned versions?
Yes, I have.
Where have you seen them?
It was through communication between, I think it was in the iPad report, I don't recall, but we will check and verify.
Because you have annexed IM 9 and IM 10 at paragraph 65, and we said IM 9 starts at page 31. That's an email. And this, as I read it, is an email from Jermaine Fortain. It's dated the 24th of October 2021. Do you see where I'm reading? And it reads, "Good day, Lizelle. For attention, if the chief," I guess that's off. "Draft proposal accepted by Medicare 24, yet to do some amendments." You see where I'm reading? Am I reading this correctly, that this particular email had attached to it the two memoranda? Sound. Yes, ma'am. Is it the two memoranda that were attached to this email?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, you suggesting that that email forwarded the unsigned memoranda. Is that what you are saying, or am I misunderstanding you?
Yes, ma'am. As we indicated about the time constraint and the volume of evidence and statements, and as well as transcripts from the witnesses, well, our statement needs to be amended in terms of that, in terms of this particular sentence, and we would amend that.
Okay, for the record, just indicate the extent to which you'd like to amend that sentence, just to
Yes.
place it on record.
That we first saw the signed one, but to be honest, the question that you posed to me is, was I aware
Yes.
of the memoranda? And my answer was that I was not aware, and also it was irregular for the department to enter into that. But in terms of how and when, which one was signed, in terms of the iPad report, whether it was signed or not, I cannot give you a definite answer. That's why I'm saying we'll go back and recorrect.
Okay, because you attach at paragraph 64 the two signed memoranda,
Yes.
annexed to IM 11 and 12. Am I understanding you correctly that IM 11 and 12 are the signed versions that you first came to learn of on the 26th of November 2025,
Exactly.
when they were presented to your attorneys?
Yes.
Okay. Then, does that suggest that you were aware of unsigned versions?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you able, firstly, where did you obtain the unsigned versions, if I may inquire?
I don't remember. As I'm saying that, because of the time constraint,
Yes.
it was difficult for us to get information anyway. And as I indicated during our session, that when you request document, you are requested to go through the POPI Act and so forth and so forth. So the time given to us, it was definitely difficult because at some point we requested some document and we were told that we must apply. My attorney must apply. And I'm expected to appear and give proper evidence in terms of my testimony.
Okay. Then the annex IM 11 and IM 12, which you say you obtained from the commission, attached, are both signed and date by above the name J.D. Mkhwanazi, Director, Specialized Services. And I'm looking specifically at page 42, 35 and 42 of the two annexures. You see that?
Yes, ma'am.
At page 35, it's the conclusion of the first memorandum. There's a signature there that has been redacted. It's J.D. Mkhwanazi, Director, Specialized Services. The second memorandum, JM 11, starts at page 37, and page 42, once again, has got a redacted signature, and above the name J.D. Mkhwanazi, Director, Specialized Services. And these are the documents that you say you obtained from the commission. Both of them are dated, partly dated. No, they are not dated. They reference, however, an effective date of 10/2021. Do you accept that, just from the
Yes,
document
I do.
itself?
Yes, I do.
So we can accept that these would have come to your attention at the earliest in October 2021, at the very earliest, not before. Do you accept my logic?
I don't.
They are dated October 2021. They would suggest that they would not have been in existence prior to that date.
Yeah, they were never brought to my attention, as I indicated. Whether they are dated 2021, he signed them in 2021, or all I'm saying is I don't want to get into details of when was it signed, the draft, and so forth. All I want to respond to, according to my knowledge and according to my understanding, is that the two documents were never brought to my attention. This is the practice from the Department of Metropolis, not the city itself, because if I was aware of such memoranda, I was going to take action, to be honest, because it is irregular for a department to enter into any relationship with external service provider without the knowledge of the accounting officer.
And my question was informed by your statement that you had seen the unsigned version of these memoranda, and I was trying to determine, and for that we will have to rely on your memory, as to when that could possibly have been that you saw unsigned memoranda.
Can you repeat the question?
I say my question regarding these two is informed by what you stated, paragraph 63. You said the first time I saw signed versions was when you obtained them from the commission. I had asked you a question, that's whether it is correct to understand that means you have seen unsigned versions, and you confirmed that. So I wanted to determine when that could possibly have been that you saw unsigned versions of these two memoranda.
I think it was during the IP report. I'm not sure, hence, ma'am, I'm saying, can we be given an opportunity to go and confirm?
I'm happy to do that. I don't have a challenge, but I just
Okay.
want to know what opportunity we are giving you.
Yes.
Yes. Are we giving you an opportunity to go test whether or not you saw the unsigned memoranda in the IPID report,
Yes.
or whether you saw them elsewhere?
Yes.
Okay. But as a guesstimate, you would say it's most probably the IPID report, although I will not hold you to that answer until you have cross-checked.
Okay.
Okay. And you conclude that section by saying you had no knowledge of these memoranda, or either one of them. You don't even know, I'm now at paragraph 65, whether they were ever implemented, and you confirm that you did not play any role whatsoever in their conclusion. That's correct. And you then invite the commission to turn to Chief Mapieye and Brigadier Mkhwanazi to explain how these memoranda came into existence and how they were signed.
Correct.
Thank you. That then concludes your response to the second question as regard. Yes,
Mr. Lo,
Commissioner.
before you leave this section. Dr. Mashazi, around February 2023, there was a media inquiry from a News 24 journalist, where that journalist was asking about the very memoranda we are discussing under this section. Did you, at that stage, become aware of that inquiry?
It is true that I had that interview with the journalist. His inquiry was about the investigation, the internal investigation, not actually the memoranda, the two memoranda. It was about the investigation and the discipline, the investigation from IPIT. What was my understanding? What have we done with the IPIT report? That was the basis of the interview with the journalist.
No, I'm not asking about the media interview you had. I'm asking about inquiry from a journalist called Jeff Wicks on 2 February 2023,
Yes.
which was addressed to EMPD or Ekurhuleni, where the subject of the inquiry was this very memoranda that we are discussing now.
Unfortunately, I did not deal with that particular inquiry. And even the investigation, it was between the HR and a chief of police as well as HOD legal. I think he's going to speak more about it, the HOD legal, because he's the one who went through the process with the chief of police. And he's the one who went through that, and he further complained about the leakage of information. So I cannot comment on that.
And then the IPIT report, because you say in 61.1 of your statement that it was presented to you by officials of IPIT on or
Yes.
about September 2023.
Yes.
So it was presented to you.
The IPIT report, yes, was presented to me.
And am I correct that the IPIT report recommended that the city of Ekurhuleni must charge Julius Mkhwanazi?
Agree.
And the subject of those charges was this very memoranda that we are discussing, that he had entered into this memoranda with CAD Security Services. That was the recommendation from IPIT.
Yes, sir.
And you did not act on that recommendation. In fact, you either disregarded it or you chose not to comply with it. I don't know which is which.
In terms of the IPIT report was presented. Number one, it was sent to Chief of Police to action because Julius, by then, he was a director. So I did something because the allegations contained in the IPIT report were very gross. I acted by referring the report to Corporate and Legal and Chief of Police, because Chief of Police is mandated in terms of the SEPS Act to actually discipline members. And Julius, being one of his subordinates, he was supposed to do that. Even when you look at the IPIT report, I don't know, I have it somewhere, where they write to him to implement or to discipline Julius. So from my point, I did something as an accounting officer by referring it, because it's a legal document, I referred the document to HOD Legal, who later informed me that the document is incomplete, and he has advised chief or whatever that they cannot take action on this document, rather let them do the internal investigation. But from my part, I do not participate in the discipline of junior officials. My part was for me to accept the report and refer it to the relevant officials who are responsible to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi in terms of his relationship, and also the memoranda that he entered into, the blue light story, the registration of vehicles, those things were dealt with at the departmental level.
So as city manager, when you become aware that at departmental level, in the face of such serious allegations, they have not taken any action against Brigadier Julius Mkhwanazi, did you just wash your hands? Once you became aware that they have not done anything in the face of such serious allegations, what was your part then?
When I became aware, can you repeat the question?
You say you referred them to the department. So there was an IPID report. It recommended that Julius Mkhwanazi be charged. You referred it to the department for Mapieye to do something about it. You also referred it to legal to have a look at it.
Yes.
And we know nothing came of either the Mapieye process or the legal process. Now you as city manager, in the face of such serious allegations that impact the city of Ekurhuleni, its credibility, its processes, because you've just said to us, if they entered into those memoranda, that's irregular and you would have done something about it. Now I'm saying to you, when they did not do anything about it, what did you as city manager do? These are serious allegations, Dr. Mashazi. You can have a situation where a security company that has no relationship with the city of Ekurhuleni brings cars to Ekurhuleni and they are registered in the name of Ekurhuleni, and then they are given back or they are never handed over to the city of Ekurhuleni. And then that very security company uses blue lights. And they use those blue lights because there's supposedly a memoranda concluded between Ekurhuleni and that security company authorizing them to make use of blue lights. I mean, those are serious allegations. And to me, it's not good enough to say, I referred it to Mapieye, I referred it to head of legal. When they did not do anything, I also did not do anything. I find that very difficult to accept.
Okay, I take your point.
You have a comment?
No comment. We'll have a discussion with my attorneys around it.
Dr. Mashazi, maybe on this particular discussion, I know it's ahead in your statement somewhere, but maybe when you want to reconsider and discuss with your attorneys, you may want to have a look at your paragraph 91 in the statement, because in that paragraph 91 of your statement, in that paragraph you tell us who you referred the IPID report to. And now you're saying something different. And maybe take that into account and see what you want to do with it. When you consult with your lawyers, you tell us that you referred it to Kemi Behari, and now you mention Mapieye, and you haven't mentioned him in respect of this report.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Isaac Mapieye, in terms of the IPID report and in terms of his responsibility, he was supposed to discipline Julius. He was supposed to discipline him. 2, I referred the item to the report to Kemi because he's a lawyer. And I think it is our processes that any legal document must be sent to the head of legal to actually peruse and give the accounting officer an opinion on how to move forward. But the responsibility still lied with the chief of police to discipline Julius.
Yes. So did I mishear you then? Because I thought you said you referred the report to Mapieye and Behari. Did I mishear that
you
part?
Misunderstood. Thank you, sorry, ma'am. Thank you so much. The report was directly sent to Mapieye from the IPID. They wrote to him as the chief of police to discipline Julius.
Yes.
And later, the report was presented to me, and I found the report to be problematic in the sense that there were serious allegations. That's why I sent the report to Kemi, and for Kemi to actually advise me in terms of moving forward the report.
Okay. Like I said, it's a topic later on, so I would like to explore it further.
Okay,
So
sure.
I'll pause there for now. But maybe before you leave the topic you were discussing with Ms. Sillo, I just wanted to make a correction factually. At the bundle now, not the statement, the other bundle, at page 31, those emails, I think you and Ms. Sillo have said that the attachments to that email are the two memoranda. And maybe let's look at the memoranda and then I'll make the correction that I think needs to be made. And then you can say if I'm correct or not. So in that bundle, the two memoranda start at page 33. The first one is the Ekurhuleni Metropolitan and CAT VIP protection. That's at page 33, you see that. And then the next one is at page 30, just if you would just hold on for me.
37.
The next one is at page 32, I think, 32, yes. And it's Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department and Medicare 24, Emergency Medical Services, / Anubi Protection Services. You see that? You see
Commissioner Baloyi, for the record, may I correct? The second one is at page 37, not
Oh,
page
I
32.
do apologize. Indeed,
Yes.
page 37. I'm sorry. So you can see the one at page 37. It's different parties except for the Metropolitan. The other party is different. At 37,
Yes.
it's Medicare and Anubis Protection Services. So it's a different protection services company. You see that? Okay. The correction I thought needs to be made is if you now go back to page 31, keeping in mind what I've pointed out now, if you go back to 31, that email there, the attachment is described as pre-final EMS and EMPD MOU. You see that?
Yes.
In fact, the subject ahead of that is pre-final EMS and EMPD MOU draft 1, and then the next one says EMS and EMPD MOU. None of these headings refer to CAT Protection Services or Anubis Protection Services. You see the point I'm making?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So it seems that we are talking about one memorandum that was attached and not two. And then the second point I just wanted to make sure we establish for the record is when you say the memoranda, you saw memoranda that were signed and you are referring to these two, the only signature that appears there is of Brigadier Mkhwanazi and no one else.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Commissioner. Perhaps we take a slight step back, and I want us to address specifically the correction that Commissioner Baloyi suggests be effected. And for that purpose, I would like to refer you to Annexure IM 10. At your statement, paragraph 62, you state that these plural memoranda were sent to Office of Chief Mapie in October 2021, but were not brought to my attention. Do you see where I'm reading?
Yes.
Then you say, I attach here to Annexure IM 9 and IM 10 an email and affidavit confirming that the memoranda, in the plural, were sent to the chief on or about October 21st. Now, if we turn our attention then to IM 10, IM 9 is the email, IM 10 is the affidavit that you reference. Correct?
Correct.
On my reading of IM 10, that is a statement on a City of Ekurhuleni letterhead written in the form of an affidavit and signed by, it states, Liesel Tyers, Personal Assistant, Office of the Chief of Police, Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department, City of Ekurhuleni, and it's dated the 17th of August 2023 at the bottom. You see where I'm reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I want us to go to paragraph 2 of that document, that affidavit. The first paragraph of that paragraph 2, there are 2 subparagraphs there. The first reads, I can confirm that I received the mentioned document via email from Superintendent Jermaine Fontaine, dated Sunday, 24th October 2021, and calls it a pre-final EMS and EMPD MOU draft 1. See, then it says see annex, attached annexure B. Then the second paragraph reads, I can confirm that I have received a second email with attachment MOU memorandum of understanding from Superintendent Jermaine Fontaine on the same date, about a few minutes later. The email is supposed to have gone through at 16:09, the second one at 16:13. And the subject, once again, is pre-final EMS and EMPD, and so it is annexure C. You are not the author of this affidavit. You are not the author of this affidavit. I'm going to give my interpretation of what is written here, and I'd like to invite yours. I understood the affidavit to speak to 2 distinct documents. Was that your impression as well on its reading?
Yes, ma'am.
And now, if you accept that these are 2 documents, both of which are memoranda of understanding, do you still intend to effect the correction that Commissioner Baloyi suggests? Because your statement speaks to 2 distinct memoranda, and you say, though the signed versions of those memoranda that are referenced in this document are what we now call IM 11 and 12, which you received from the Commission. So if I can take you back, are we talking about one memorandum here, insofar as both this email and that you have attached and the affidavit that you have attached, or are we speaking about 2 documents?
Yeah, the memoranda that we're talking about, they are 2.
Yes.
One is for the Medicare and one is for the CAT VIP security services.
And you maintain those are the 2 documents that you say are referred to in this affidavit. Can I inquire, even just on a reading of it, this affidavit was not communicated via the email that is attached as EM9, because that communicates the memoranda. Where did you obtain this particular affidavit from?
Ma'am, I'm not sure.
No, you don't recall.
And I don't recall, and hence I said we were struggling to we got information from this one.
Okay.
So it is difficult for me to actually indicate the source of the document. But the document obviously is from the EMPD department.
Yes. No, I accept that response. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner.
Yeah. Can I, Dr. Mashazi, I'm not suggesting that in the final analysis it's going to be of any big moment. I just wanted the factual correction. If you look at that same affidavit that Ms. Sillo is pointing you to, the first paragraph she read refers to an email at 16:09, which contains one memorandum, and then another one at 16:13. It contains a different MOU. Now, the email from Ms. Fontaine at page 31 is at 16:09. So we know from the affidavit that it contained one memorandum. That's all I wanted to correct, because I had understood the exchange between you and Ms. Sillo to be that Ms. Fontaine had attached to this email at page 31 2 memoranda. So I was just making that correction. You see the correction I was making?
Yes.
That what she has attached at 31 is in fact the one memorandum at 16:09.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Sillo.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I think the correction is correctly pointed out, because in terms of the affidavit, there are 2 distinct emails. The Times reference there speaks to 2 different emails. Because you had already started this topic with Commissioner Khumalo, perhaps it's appropriate that we then jump ahead on in your statement to close this IPID investigation issue regarding the use of the blue lights and the conclusion of these two memoranda. You understand? So I'm going to jump ahead. Rather than park it, drift into yonder somewhere only to come back to the same issue. May I suggest that we run ahead and look at page 21. At page 21, you answer question 10. And specifically, the failure to implement the directives by IPID to initiate disciplinary action against Brigadier Mkhwanazi. You see where I'm reading?
Mm-hmm.
To help you, or to help us all to understand exactly what we are talking about, please try and locate Chief Mapie's annexure bundle, and that's where we will locate the actual IPID report. Chief Mapie's bundle. And I would like to refer us to JM19, starting at page 101. Have you located it? When we keep saying the IPID report, that is the document we are talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
And you recall that Commissioner Khumalo said IPID specifically recommended that disciplinary steps be taken against Mr. Mkhwanazi. And that recommendation appears at page 103 under the heading IPID recommendations.
Yes, ma'am.
And that is the report you received.
Mm-hmm.
And Commissioner Khumalo wanted to understand the failure to act on that recommendation. Correct? Your failure specifically as a city manager. That's the question that Commissioner Khumalo had posed to you.
I don't agree that I did not act. I
Okay.
indicated that receiving this document, I acted. And the person responsible to discipline Mkhwanazi is the Chief of Police.
Okay.
I wish the Commission could understand how council works and how the systems of delegations work. And in terms of the SEPS Act, the Commission is aware that the discipline of members in the EMPD relies solely on the Chief of Police. And if the accounting officer had to actually sit in all the DCs of junior officials in this 26 department, how will the accounting officer discharge her duties, especially her strategic duties, governance, service delivery, and performance of the city in general?
Okay. Now, Commissioner Khumalo also referenced, I think, an interview you had where you spoke about this issue, specifically that there was an IPID report regarding these matters that was not acted upon. You recall that interview?
Yes.
And I would like us to play that clip and then to appreciate the response you gave to the journalist at the time. It should come up shortly.
If there are, but we believe that there's more money that is still sitting within Sinten.
The IPAD report for us was very vague, and I was unable to discipline anyone. We had to take that IPAD report to our investigation. We appointed an independent investigator through the internal audit, And the report was out. We'll share the report with you so that you can start disciplining people. So from that report, the acting chief of police has done nothing wrong. He's cleared. So IPAD, they can go ahead if they want to arrest him, if they think he is wrong, because they are police officers. But from our side, in terms of the DC and investigation, there's nothing wrong that the acting chief of police has done. He's been cleared by our report, and for as long as there's nothing that they're doing from their side, if they believe that he is wrong, there's nothing I can do as an accounting officer. He reports to me. Even the chief of police, who is on suspension, he reports to me. If there's any wrongdoing from his side, I must do my own investigation, and I must also subject that person to a DC. I can't subject my officers to a DC based on a report that I myself do not understand, because I had to take it to legal, and legal analyze the report, and they refer the report to internal audit.
We're issuing fines.
Thank you. I won't even summarize my key takeouts, but I'll ask questions based on what I understood your responses to have been. My first is that you indicate in that interview that Brigadier Mkhwanazi did nothing wrong. You say he was cleared by the report, and you reference an internal audit report that cleared him. Did I understand you correctly? Dr. Mashazi?
Exactly, I'm listening.
Did I understand you correctly?
Yes, ma'am.
What internal audit report is this?
The internal report, remember I said I referred the report to HOD Legal. And HOD Legal confirmed, I think there was some annexure from Mr. Nguza's testimony.
Yes.
And I don't want to dwell into that, because the HOD Legal will talk about that, about their response and about going through the report and about their own opinion advising the accounting officer. Remember, I'm not a lawyer. Any legal document that come to me, I must refer it to corporate and legal. Hence, we have that department. So whatever advice sitting here, I think the opinion, it was their opinion then at that point. But looking at the serious allegation now, I feel the HOD should come and talk to the opinion. If I was misled, I will accept.
Okay, we will take the offer, and we will invite the head of legal accordingly. My particular interest is, particularly as an accounting officer, you very specifically reference a document and you call it internal audit report. That's a very specific term, and I'm sure you understand what that means. Mm-hmm. And you said that specific report cleared Mr. Mkhwanazi. My question is, where and how, when did you see that report? Who did you receive it from? And how can the commission obtain a copy thereof?
It was from the Chief Audit Executive.
Sorry, please say that again.
Chief Audit Executive.
And who was the Chief Audit Executive?
It was Philip Rapal.
Philip Rahwani.
Yeah.
And when was that, considering that the IPID report I referenced you at page 101 of Mapiyeye annexures is dated the 1st of September 2023. So I take it that the internal audit report would be dated after that date.
Exactly.
Would you recall how much later after that date to assist our search?
I wouldn't. I don't recall, ma'am.
You don't recall. Now, you said in no uncertain terms in that interview that it cleared Mr. Mkhwanazi and that he did nothing wrong. What in the report, what wording appeared in the report that gave you such a definitive and conclusive understanding of the outcome of the internal audit exercise? Did it say, this report clears Mr. Mkhwanazi? Did it say, following extensive investigations, no wrongdoing could be established on the part of Mr. Mkhwanazi? I'm trying to understand, what was the wording, as you recall, of the report that led you to conclude as you did, and you communicated to the journalist accordingly?
I can't recall. I will still have to go back and check.
Sorry, I missed
I
that.
will go back and check.
You'll go back and check. Now, getting back to the IPID report, in the interview with the journalist, you said the report was vague. That's the explanation you provided. And you said, and as a result, you were unable to discipline anyone. Do you recall that bit? Now, I want to invite you to Annexure JM19 of Mapia's Annexure bundle, which I said is the actual IPID report. And if you could just highlight what in particular about that report you considered vague, with reference to the report itself.
Can you repeat your question?
We are looking at the IPID report. Have you located it in Mapia's bundle? It's
Yes,
marked
I did.
JM19. It starts at page 101. Now, you said to the journalist in that interview that no one was disciplined because the IPID report is vague, and therefore you were unable to discipline anyone. And you don't understand the content of the report. My question is, which part of this report do you consider vague? Just by flipping through now so we can understand your challenges at the time.
The report was fully analyzed by corporate and legal. Hence, I said, can we allow Advocate Kemi to come and talk to the report and also talk to his opinion about the report? And I indicated at the beginning of my response that if I was ill-advised or given an opinion that is not sustainable from the department, can we therefore allow Advocate Kemi to come and speak to the report? That's all I'm asking.
Okay, but as I indicated, we are happy to do so, except your own words seem to suggest that you considered the report vague. Are you saying that Advocate Bihari advised you that the report is vague? Or did you form the opinion that the report is vague, the IPID report?
That is
which
my understanding from his opinion, from what he said. That is my understanding.
Oh.
Hence, I'm saying I do not want to waste Commissioner's time by saying stories I don't know, legal stories that I don't know and understand. I will ask the Commission. Advocate Kemi Bihari is coming on the 4th to pose this question to him about the opinion he rendered to the accounting officer. Remember, I'm not an expert in all the fields. We have engineering department, legal, HR, and so forth. I'm not an expert in those areas. I rely on HODs to advise me in terms of some of these reports or programs within the city.
My question was prompted by your choice of words in that interview. You said the report is vague, but based on what you've just said now, please correct me if I'm wrong, you were not suggesting that you reached the conclusion that the report is vague, but you are saying that Advocate Bihari advised you that the report is vague. Is that what you were trying to communicate?
Yes, ma'am.
So you are not in a position to look through the report now as we sit here to try and understand which aspects of the report are vague?
No.
And you operated purely on the basis of what Advocate Bihari informed you and advised you
Exactly.
in his capacity as a lawyer.
Yes.
If we go back to your statement, then
Can I just
Commissioner?
ask a question? Dr. Mashazi, did you read this report from IPID at all?
Yes, I went through it, and because I must interpret it properly
Yes.
before I take any action. Remember, IPID, in as much as there's a memorandum of understanding between ourselves and IPID. When we discipline an official in terms of the labor relation and our processes, the collective bargaining, you need to be able to, in case you are taken on legally, when you go to the labor court, because I'll be the one who will be facing the labor court, I should be able to talk to the report. But if the report is not generated from my system, we had to subject it and confirm some of the things, because as you see the report, there were no annexures attached. Okay? So I know in terms of the report, there are gross allegations that needs to be attended to. Hence, I'm saying I do not want to waste your time, ma'am, the commission's time, by saying yes, no, yes, no. I'm requesting that we park this. Advocate Kemo will talk to it, because I was solely relying on the opinion given to me at that time. But looking at the report, obviously, I would accept that the opinion is not assisting.
The reason I ask whether you read this report when it was given to you, it's because I'm worried if an impression is created or is drawn from how you're testifying, that you received this report and simply passed it on. You didn't look at it, you didn't engage with its contents, you just passed it on to Advocate Behari, and then he came back to you with his advice that ignore it, it's vague, and as city manager you were content to deal with things at that superficial level. I'm concerned that your evidence may be misunderstood to convey that. Hence my question, did you read this report?
Yeah, I perused the report.
Yes, you did read it.
Yeah, I perused the report.
Now, having read it,
Yeah.
and you've explained that you would have to defend your position about, the position you take about it. Having read the report, and I'm going to assume that you reread it to come and testify here, what in the report in front of you did you consider to be vague, unsubstantiated conclusions about what Brigadier Mkhwanazi is being accused of?
Yeah, post the commission and the evidence that we received, the report is full of gross misconduct, and it needed an action from the city. But initially, because I just perused through the document and there was no attachment to it to confirm, that is the decision that I took after I was advised that the report is vague.
Okay. A different question still relating to this. In your evidence earlier, you say that Chief Mapieye was responsible to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi. And you don't get involved with that. And indeed, this report from IPID, you're correct, is addressed to Chief Mapieye, but we know from your evidence that it does come to your attention. But in that interview, you speak about you being responsible to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi. That's what you say in your words. And I'm really confused about what you're saying about your involvement with disciplinary action relating to Brigadier Mkhwanazi.
Thank you very much. If you listen to the interview, I said I have a right to discipline Mkhwanazi as an acting chief of police and including chief of police. That's my statement. Acting chief of police, you assume the responsibility of being the chief of police, and the responsibility of disciplining lies with the city manager.
So where criticism is that the city failed to discipline Brigadier Mkhwanazi arising from this report, according to this interview, that includes you. you say you relied on Advocate Behari's advice, and he will come and speak for himself. But to the extent that you own up in the interview that you have the authority to discipline your acting police chief, and you have decided not to discipline him because the report is vague and you've conducted an investigation, that's on you. It's your decision at that point not to discipline him.
Thank you, ma'am. Let me give clarity to your question. At the point of the report and the memorandum, signing of the memorandum, Mkhwanazi was a director. That's why the responsibility of disciplining him was resting in the authority of the chief of police, not the authority of the accounting officer. Hence, in my interview, I said him as an acting chief of police then, and he acted just for a short period. And the chief of police himself, they report to me, acting in the capacity of chief of police. But at the time of this incident, he was a director. And the only person that could discipline him was the chief of police.
But from the interview, we know that you made the decision, for reasons that you've given, you made the decision that there's nothing to discipline him for because an investigation has cleared him. So you made a decision when in that short time that he was acting, you made the decision arising from this IPID report, there's nothing to discipline him for because your investigation has cleared him.
I think I've answered that I was advised at that point whether the advice is admissible or the advice is helping the process. The head of legal will explain.
Okay. And then, can you just explain if the IPID report, as it is directed to the chief of police, and you say he had the authority to discipline, when you receive the same report, so we know where the authority to discipline lies according to you, it lies with the chief. When you receive the report, why do you take it to Behari when the authority lies with the chief? Why do you say to Behari, look at this, and then you rely on him now saying to you, don't discipline? It sounds like you were doing something that on your evidence didn't belong in your remit because the authority lies with the chief according to your evidence.
Thank you, ma'am. Remember, the chief of police received this from IPID, I think, when was it? The date?
The report is
He
dated
received-
September.
September. Yeah, he received this. And from his part, he did not want to act. I don't know why. Then he referred the IPID officials to my office, and they presented the report. There was Advocate Behari in the office. So as there were continuous inquiries about the report, Advocate Behari requested an official called Osborne Kanye from IPID to come and explain to us how do we move, because there were no attachment in terms of the report. That's why I wanted the advocate to come and talk to it. And Mr. Kanye said, because in the report they were suggesting that there were some corruption, fraud and corruption, and advocate wanted to understand that. I was part of that meeting, and Kanye in that meeting, he indicated that they're still busy with the investigation. That's what he said, and this will be confirmed by Advocate Behari, that Kanye was still trying to conclude the investigation and also create criminal charges against Mkhwanazi, and he will take those charges to DPP. And Advocate, I think he did a follow-up again when this thing was ongoing, when I asked him that, what's happening now? Because Mkhwanazi, as far as the report is concerned now, he is being accused of fraud and corruption, which must be dealt with. Then he wrote an email, he will present the email here to Kanye, Osborne Kanye in IPIT, to check how far is he with DPP, so that Mkhwanazi can be arrested for doing this. That's why in the statement I said IPIT should have concluded and they must arrest Mkhwanazi because they are police officers.
Yes. Did you never become aware that employee relations commenced a disciplinary process against Brigadier Mkhwanazi? Are you telling us you never became aware of that when you say Chief Mapia never acted on this?
DC, I don't know about the internal DC. I started knowing about this through the IPIT report. Remember, in terms of the departmental functioning and the systems of delegation, Chief of Police would discipline any member, and I wouldn't be aware, junior officials, I wouldn't be aware of that. And I do not get involved in that.
Yes, I'm asking more specifically, Brigadier Mkhwanazi.
I was not aware about the internal, and the report was never even shared with me.
Thank you.
Doctor, you considered that you perused the report, the IPIT report.
Yeah.
And your reason for taking it to Advocate Behari is that he has legal. But when you perused the report, you must have seen that there were factual, not legal contentions, but factual allegations. I'm sure you noticed that when you perused, did you not? I'm talking fact, not law. Must have seen that there were factual allegations. Is that correct?
Factual allegations.
Yes.
That's your question.
Sorry?
Is that the
I am
question?
saying, yes, it is. Sorry. I'm told that somebody cannot hear what you are saying, Doctor. Maybe if, can you pull them, if that's possible? Pull them towards you, much closer, if the cabling will permit, just closer to you. And please speak up as well. Don't be too soft.
Okay.
Thank you. So I was saying, when you perused the IPIT report, you must have seen that it made factual allegations. Did you not?
Yes.
You did. Please speak up.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Commissioner.
And serious allegations at that, because I think somewhere even the word fraud or fraudulent is used. So those are serious allegations, correct?
Correct.
One of the allegations being that Brigadier Mkhwanazi facilitated through a Mr. Chris Stein the registration of CAT VIP motor vehicles in the name of the Metro, correct?
Correct.
You must have seen that when
Yes, correct.
when you did your perusal, yes. And also that although there was reference to, that is by Brigadier Mkhwanazi again, to the existence of memoranda, those memoranda in fact did not exist. You must have seen those factual allegations as well, correct?
Correct.
Now, Captain Behari comes back to you and says, there is no case here. Was it not a matter of relative ease for you to say, but there are allegations of fraud, which are to the effect that Brigadier Mkhwanazi, through Mr. Chris Stein, registered CAT VIP vehicles in the name of the Metro. What do you say about that, Advocate Behari? Did you at least ask that? He can't just come back to you and say, there's no case here, and then you just accept that without question. What did you say, and why did you not demand of him to explain, for example, those simple factual allegations?
My further engagement with Advocate Behari is that because there are fraud and corruption issues here, can we conclude the process with IP so that he is charged? In terms of internal processes, I am told that there was internal investigation and Chief was dealing with that internal investigation in terms of labor relations.
But in the video you say there's no case here. So it cannot,
It's
the two can't stand together.
Yeah.
There being no case and the chief dealing with a case. I'm talking internal case. The two just cannot stand together.
I'm referring to the IP report.
Yes,
The question is about the IP report
yes,
in terms of what I have done as an accounting officer.
yes.
And you are making a point to say that I should have made a follow-up with Behari.
Yeah.
That with this, after perusal of the report, with these allegations, don't you think that we should persuade the matter further? But my discussion with him, he relies solely to waiting for IP to conclude, because according to him, his understanding. That's why I'm saying I do not want to throwing him under the bus. But he was dealing directly with IP and indicating that the report, the IP has promised that they've taken the report
Okay,
to
let's
DPP.
Let's focus on you then. When you say in the video, in the clip there, that there is no case, aren't you basing that on what Advocate Behari said?
Yes, I am.
So that takes me back to my question,
Yes.
which is, did you just take what he told you at face value without even questioning it?
Yes,
And
I-
I'm asking this question in the context of you being the accounting officer, the most senior administrative/executive official within the municipality. Someone comes with a report. You have perused and seen very serious allegations which make reference to fraud. So someone comes and just says there's no case here. And you do not engage on the specific allegations that you have read, you yourself have read.
I concede.
How can an executive, most senior executive, or top administrator act in that manner?
As I indicated that I deal with a lot of issues, but maybe this one in particular, I did not pay too much attention on it, but I must indicate that I am not protecting anyone, and I'm not here to throw anyone under the bus.
You
But,
say,
the issue of not doing follow-up, I concede that I did not follow up as an accounting officer.
you said, I've forgotten the actual words now, you said maybe you did not take it too seriously. What did you say? But something
I
like
did
that.
not pay too much attention.
You did not
to
pay too much attention.
it. Yeah.
On something so serious, or did you not consider this to be serious?
I consider it serious.
Something that says a private entity's motor vehicles, the private entity being CAT VIP Protection Services, a private entity's vehicles were registered in the name of the municipality, of which you are the top administrator, and you do not pay too much attention to something like that. I just want to understand you, to understand your thinking both now and then.
Then to be honest, I did not peruse the document thoroughly. As I think in my statement, there's somewhere where I indicated that I did not peruse the document. The document immediately, the advocate was part of the meeting with IPIT. The document immediately was taken by him to go and review it.
When you say you did not peruse it thoroughly,
I perused the document after
after what?
the opinion and after the interview.
Advocate Behari's opinion?
Yeah, after the opinion. and-
Before you concluded that there was indeed no case?
After I concluded, after he gave me opinion.
No,
and I
the
concluded.
thorough
The
perusal
thorough
now
reading is post,
is post you receiving the opinion.
yes.
But before you come to a definitive view that there is no case here, not so?
Yes.
Now, that still takes us back to my
Maybe
question.
the post-
Once now you have perused thoroughly, as you say, and you have this opinion, and when you peruse thoroughly, you see that there are serious allegations, one of which is about fraud. How do you then come to this conclusion? And as I see it quite easily, that there is no case here. Why don't you say to Behari, but this says these cars were registered in the municipality's name. Is that correct factually? Why don't you say that to Behari, or why don't you ask that of Behari?
Ask him that, is it factual?
Is
that
it correct that indeed CAT VIP's motor vehicles, that is, motor vehicles belonging to a private entity, were indeed registered as the Metro's vehicles? Why don't you ask Advocate Behari that? Because you can't, this is a factual allegation, you know. That is why I would not be engaging you if we were talking questions of law, which indeed you would have had to rely on him. But now this is factual. It said, cars belonging to CAT VIP were registered as though they belonged to the municipality. That's factual. And Advocate Behari comes back to you and says to you, there is no case here. We now know that you actually accepted that. You say so in the video clip. My question is, having perused the IP report thoroughly after receipt of Advocate Behari's report, why did you not engage him on the facts, not law, facts? Is it correct, Advocate Behari, that these cars were indeed registered as if they were the municipality's vehicles? Why don't you ask him that? Also, why don't you ask him, is it correct that an impression was created out there that there are memoranda between the municipality and, I'll focus just on CAT VIP here because I seem to read this to refer to CAT VIP. Did that happen? Is there a memorandum between the municipality and CAT VIP? We know there isn't. But did you engage Advocate Behari on that? What did he say? Those were very easy questions, both questions, the one regarding to the registration and the one regarding the memorandum.
Yeah, thank you, Chairperson.
Why did you not raise those questions? How could you, in the face of these allegations, reach the conclusion that you did?
I reached the conclusion before I perused the document and before we received all this documentation that supports the IPT report. That supports the IPT report. I properly read this. Post my comment.
I'm getting confused now. If you say you reached your conclusion before, do you mean you reached your conclusion before you sought Advocate Behari's view? I want to understand the before.
No, thanks. I indicated in my interview that I received an opinion from Advocate Behari.
Yes.
That the report is vague. I indicated that in my interview, that the report is vague, therefore we're not going to take any action. Julius was cleared. Brigadier Mkhwanazi was cleared. But
when did your perusal take place? I just want to get an idea of the timeline. Because you say you reached your conclusion before, but at some stage
No.
you perused. So I want the timeline, a clearer timeline,
Sorry, Chair, if you misunderstood. I said post
post
the advice.
the advice,
Yeah,
but
post the
before your
advice, that
final,
is-
but before your final view on the matter.
Yes. And the matter went further to say that my response goes further to say that after receiving the supporting document, I feel that the opinion given then is not assisting me.
Also, effectively, you did not accept Advocate Behari's advice.
Initially, I did.
Because it was not eventually.
Initially, I did.
But
But
eventually, yes.
eventually post evidence and everything and reading the document properly. I don't think the
Which
opinion assisted.
you refer to evidence, which evidence? What evidence?
The attachment and the illegal memoranda that were signed by Mkhwanazi and the issue of registering vehicles and so forth.
All right.
After getting that evidence, I felt that the opinion did not help me much.
And then once you reached that conclusion, that is that the opinion was not assisting you, what did you then do as the as the accounting officer?
I had a discussion with Advocate Behari about this,
Again,
and I want
again.
him.
Yeah.
I want him to come and state what really happened afterwards. Because I gave him the responsibility to peruse all the legal document and advise me. But looking at the evidence and the complexity of the matter, I feel, as I indicated, that he needs to review and talk to these issues.
Here at the commission?
Here, he's
No.
coming-
I'm asking you about what you did at the time. Once you became aware that what Advocate Behari had given you by way of an opinion did not assist you, what did you do at the time?
At the time,
You are the accounting officer.
yes, sir.
You've been given an opinion on an issue, or rather on a report that makes very serious allegations. You are the accounting officer. At some point, you are satisfied with the opinion, but at a later point, you no longer are. Now, once you are no longer satisfied with the opinion, what do you, as the accounting officer, top administrator, do? At the time.
At the time.
Yes.
And at the time, when is the timeline? I can't recall the timeline, but I engaged him, and he said he has responses to that. He was working with IPIT. That's the response I got. Hence, I'm saying it is important that for you to get the full truth of what really transpired with this report. I know I do take responsibility as an accounting officer, but I relied on him. Hence, I'm requesting that he come and testify on the opinion that he initially gave. And as I said, that after looking at the evidence that was now provided in terms of the registration of vehicles and supporting documents for this IPIT report, I feel that that opinion did not assist me.
He gave you a written opinion. When you indicated to him that you were not happy with the opinion, did you write to him? Did you send an email?
No.
Or
No.
you
And-
communicated orally?
Yeah, it was already, even the initial response from him, it was oral, and he said they're working on the response to get more information from IPIT so that they're able to deal with the matter.
Probably this is the the last question from me, at least on this aspect. I want to understand, because you quickly jump to the need for Advocate Behari to come to this commission to testify and clarify his thought processes. But I'm interested to know, there's a point you are not happy with what he told you. You are the accounting officer. There are serious allegations. And this is when, what was the timeline? This is September 2023, and you retired at the end of July 2025. What did you do? You, as the accounting officer, what did you do about these serious allegations that you say you actually saw for yourself when you did the thorough perusal?
There's internal process where Mkhwanazi is being investigated, re-investigated by the city, and there's also suspension from the IPIT report and from the commission, obviously. There's an internal process that is going on.
Thank you, Doctor. Let us adjourn and resume at 2:15. 2:15.
We're not going to finish today.